Welcome to Evolve Systems in partnering with the Metro Independent Business Alliance, and we will be talking about how to keep your website evolved. My name is Don Raleigh III with Evolve Systems, and today is June 28, 2016, and it is roughly 11 a.m. When we like to think about websites, we really enjoy starting off our presentations with a quote. There's no silver bullet solution for cybersecurity. A layered defense is the only viable defense, by James Scott. James Scott is one of the people that first introduced what cybersecurity really is. He was on the team that developed different backends. What we're going to be talking about mostly is how to keep everything in order, and we're going to be having a very quick agenda. Our goal here is to be less than 1 hour, and so that everybody can be moving on with our day. If you have any questions, please comment in the chat section. We'll be answering questions throughout the webinar. So like I said, my name is Don Raleigh III. I am currently an account executive at Evolve Systems. I am the second generation, and I am the board of directors for the Heel Grind Youth Foundation for Minnesota chapter. There's a little bit of pictures for me. I'm in a youth military organization, and I do some fun stuff on the side. About Evolve Systems, we are a business ever since 2002, so almost operating for 15 years. We're located in St. Paul, Minnesota. We're 75% women-owned and 25% veteran-owned. What most people have a common misunderstanding of what a woman-owned business really means. And what that means to people and to the government is that we're actually able to work on projects and be considered a minority-owned business. You can often get tax write-offs, you can often get accepted for different programs and events because of it. Being that we are a woman-owned business, we are associated with the National Association of Women Business Owners. We are associated with MetroIBA for obvious reasons. Here we are today, and we have a strong dedication to getting involved and giving back to our community. One part of our community outreach programs is every quarter we have one day where we shut down the office and all the employees go out and do random acts of kind services. Oftentimes going to feed my starving children or going out in the community at the Amherst Wildlife Foundation packing backpacks. So we have a lot of fun here. Getting into what cybersecurity really means is that you have to understand your website is not just a sitting station. You have to continuously evolve your website. And these are some of the simple things that you can do. Think of your website as a car. You don't just, your car, as soon as you buy it off the lot, it suddenly depreciates. You want to make sure that you're continuously maintaining your car, maintaining your website, by making sure that it is mobile and secure. You have the proper search engine optimization in place, you have fresh content, you have social media, and you can actually have your measurements to see how you're doing, where you're performing well. Part of Evolve Systems, we really enjoy having our two main services, website services and our merchant services. The website, really, you need to have the great user experience, the digital marketing, and all this fun stuff. I trust that all of us can read, so I don't hope to be too boring during this presentation. This is just a little bit about how we operate. This is the heart of the matter. We want to make sure that your website has the security focuses. At the application level, which means your login information, your passwords, your actual credentials to get in. Most oftentimes in website security, a lot of hacking happens because people have their passwords as password 123. It's called social engineering, guessing people's passwords. Most oftentimes, if somebody's in physical possession of a laptop, they'll take a look at what's on the screensaver. They'll take a look at what is actually around the person. Let's say they have a dog. If you have the dog's name somewhere in your office, people will probably guess that as your password. You want to make sure that for the second part, that at the protocol level, whenever you look at a website, it will always have HTTP or HTTPS. The S stands for secure. The way that you're able to do that is through a secure socket layer, an SSL. The third part is having an upper level, or malware and phishing. This is also part of social engineering. Most oftentimes through our help desk, we'll get emails that say, hi, help desk. You are being called for court order. Please click the zip file below to view your court order. Obviously, since our help desk is not a real person and not having a social security number, it cannot possibly be ever called into court. So we automatically know that that is a phishing scheme. What people will then do is they will click on the actual link, they'll click on the zip file, and they'll enter in their information, their name, phone number, address, social security number. And with that information, that is where most personal identity theft happens. A lot of the time, you can have the same issues on your website where you're able to log on into your website. You can tell that this is not the best practice. You want to make sure that you have you want to inform all of your employees about these different phishing schemes. That is one of the biggest things that you can focus on. At the fourth level, you have your network level, your firewalls. You want to make sure that you have a proper firewall in place in order so that you don't have people, the malicious attacking, coming in through the network level. Network being your internet connection. And the server access level, the hosting level. You want to make sure that your hosting, where the website is actually being held, is secured and safe as well. All these different things, you can check in with your current website hosting partner and ask them about the simple questions of, do I have a firewall? Do I have a web maintenance plan? Do I have an SSL certificate? We'll get into more about how Evolved Systems can help. So, tools for keeping your website secure at the application level. You want to make sure that you have whatever website your platform is built off of, just make sure that your security or brute force attacks is protected. Everybody has heard of the CAPTCHA. There's a lot of fun new ones that are out there where you have to do math problems, where you have to spell words out. This one will automatically kick out any bots or robots that are crawling through your website that are trying to scan for information to send you malicious attacks through your website. You want to make sure that if you have comments in your website, that you're able to disable the comments. A lot of times we'll see people trying to ask questions and get people personal information or sending out ads. You'll often see the fake ads of, I live in my house and I make over $10,000 a month. Click here to find out how you can do the same. You see these all over the place. Facebook is a very, very popular spot. If you were to click that link, you'd get phished, you'd get caught, and you'd have malicious software on your computer. Obviously, that's a bad thing. That is a very bad thing. You don't want that. You want to make sure that your broken link, any broken links in the website. What that means is if you go to your website and there's any 404 pages, error not found, something is broken, something doesn't work. Oftentimes, people can figure out a way on the back end to log in through that broken page and cause problems on the rest of your website. There's simple solutions that you can go to, and if you have any questions on how to take care of broken links, I'll explain further in the webinar. The last thing is the ability to back up your site. If there were something to happen, let's say your website is hacked into and the website is down, you want to make sure that your website is you can easily back up your website. What that means is that you're able to save and to hold on to your information on the site. We're talking about design files, content files, uploads, anything that you put on your website is a major concern. You want to make sure that you have everything backed up. E-commerce sites require PCI compliant security scans. PCI is Payment Card Industry. Think of MasterCard, Visa, and American Express. What the main companies for credit cards, they created this PCI association where they put not necessarily legislation, but rules in place for merchant card people or e-commerce sites to make sure that everybody is following compliance. Fun fact for you, credit cards are not government regulated. I'll say that again, credit cards are not government regulated. Whenever you accept a credit card, it's completely on what processing company you're with. Most oftentimes, Evolved Systems were able to go in and actually help you with your processing. Here's a selfless plug for you. This is, I think, one of the most important slides in the presentation. It's the HTTP versus HTTPS, the Google search preference. If you take a look at the diagram on the right, it's the trust store. This is what an HTTPS will do for you. Step one, you personally are on your computer and you want to go to a website that has an SSL service. So you're going to the server. The server kicks back to your computer and presents the SSL to your computer. Your computer then responds saying, yes, I understand your SSL security is available. Step 5 is that it goes back from the server to the actual website and verifies everything. Step 6 is that the server allows the access from your computer to actually visit the website. It's somewhat confusing, and it really does make sense. But if you don't have your secure socket layer, anybody can visit your website and potentially hack into it. Like I said, website security is all about layers. If you're able to have more layers, you'll be able to protect your service. Tools for keeping secure at the user level. This is probably the most content-heavy one. Everybody will be able to get these after the presentation, but on this site, you just want to make sure that your passwords are protected. For instance, password 1234 is not a good password. One really popular thing that people have been doing recently is phrasing. Phrasing for your password can be extremely beneficial. So let's say you have a password that you want to change. Really, really secure password is the elephant walks slowly. Elephant walks slowly, or tiger attacks quickly, or a phrase. The football goes through, or something like that. That way, the password is very, very long, and it's kind of random words. We always like to, it's called also face rolling for a lot of our passwords for the website level. We keep everything on a secure server, and we just press down our hands on the keyboard, and that's the password. It's impossible to recreate, but we have a secured layer behind it, so we have the safe access to it. You want to make sure that if you want to make sure that the secure mobile devices, if you have any employees that have a smartphone, that you want to make sure that everything is being secured at that level as well. Most oftentimes, if somebody loses their cell phone and has precious data or information that is not for the public, people will be able to access the information off of their cell phone. So making sure that everybody's cell phones in the office are actually secured. You want to make sure to also to run a malware scan on all devices connected to the network. What the malware scan will do is it will identify if any of the users being computers, cell phones, any device that connects to the internet, the malware scan will scan each device and check if there's any malicious attacks that can come through those different devices. If you have any questions, make sure to type in the chat. We have one question. How often should you change your passwords? Do you really need to? Your passwords, it depends on how often you want to change. We found that either changing them once per quarter or once per year usually has it safe. We have a comment that the audio keeps cutting out. So I apologize. That might be internet connection on either side. For changing passwords, it's often found that the more frequent you change your password, the better. We've had people that keep the same password throughout the entire existence of their business, and people who get fired or leave the company still have access to those passwords. For obvious reasons, if you have an employee that has a bad situation with the company, you don't want them to have access to log on. You never know what somebody will do in desperate times. So changing your passwords is very wise whenever something happens. At the next level, we're talking about the network level. Cloudflare is what we usually recommend. If you look at the image on the left, this is what your naked website has. This is what happens whenever a naked website is appearing. So you have your visitors that will go through the slower system and go to your website, and it will take a long time to load. You'll have crawlers and bots. Those are from Google, they will actually scan your website for search engine optimization and place you in the search engine system for all the different algorithms that they have. The bottom image is the attackers. The attackers will have the same exact access to the website. If you take a look at the image on the right, the attackers are blocked out. The way that Cloudflare is able to do that is that they will pick up the IP address, the actual computer that people are finding, or the actual computer that the attackers are using, and block the IP address. We had a situation not too long ago where the owner of our company, had to go in and actually block a couple of IP addresses from China. Because of, there was I believe it was on last month or so, where a lot of malicious attacks came from China to a specific website, and they tried to take it down. InfraGard is an association of website developers and actual federal FBI. The FBI is part of InfraGard. And they were actually able to, because of Cloudflare, identify the IP addresses that are attacking the site and disable them to attack the website. Thus, giving the visitors, the actual who you want on your website, to get to your website faster. If you have any questions about Cloudflare, make sure to either comment in the chat section or you can email me. Tips for keeping your website secure at the server access level. Firewall, 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 firewall. You want to make sure that you have your firewalls there to prevent any hacking, spammers, or malicious bots. A firewall will essentially disable any malicious people with the IP address and block them from ever entering your site. WordPress is known for being a hacker's paradise. With the word fence for a firewall, it's an antivirus scanning, cell phone sign-in, so it's a two-factor authentication, and essentially WordFence is there to protect your website. If you have a WordPress site, we highly recommend installing WordFence. Remember, the more levels of cybersecurity, the better it is to protect your website. So what is the plan to keep your company safe from web threats? One popular quote that we have is U.S. computer networks and databases are under daily cyber attacks by nation states, international crime organizations, subnational groups, and individual hackers. Like I said in the story, we had people from China attacking us. You also hear often of Anonymous. Anonymous is an organization that attacks ISIS or attacks other different organizations, and they steal that information. If you don't have your website fully protected, you will get hacked into. So that's, once again, why we say layers, layers, and layers.
Carla has a question, Don.
Carla has a question. Her question was, I've been told that it is not good to have multiple firewalls, etc. in place because they interfere with each other. Not true, question mark? You want to make sure that you have a firewall, but if a firewall, you want to make sure that you have the right firewall. So for instance, if you have WordPress, a word fence is what you want. You're right in saying that multiple firewalls may interfere with each other. That's why you have a firewall, an SSL certificate. You want to make sure that you're scanning for malware and the back-end hosting. Hopefully that answers your question, Carla. Thank you for asking.
How do you know which firewall would be best for your situation?
Absolutely. The way that you're able to identify what firewall is best for your situation is you go through our next step, our 5-point audit. It's what we do to check what you're currently doing for SEO. We're able to identify what you specifically are doing And it's a free service that we provide. All we need you to do is send an email to me, don3@evolve-systems.com, with your website URL and saying that you'd like a scan. We're able to identify the different cybersecurity and have a discussion about what you actually need. Sometimes we found that clients or potential clients are being taken care of and they don't need any further assistance. That is extremely rare, but it's better just to check. We always want to make sure that we evaluate the options that are proper for you and that you're having the best solutions possible. Also, the PCI network scan to determine potential threats. Whenever you accept a credit card online, PCI network scan will really help make sure that you've been taken care of. The way that we do this is through our website and online marketing priorities. It may be time for an audit. Send an email, we'll find out. What we do is to make sure that your website is actually making sure that it's mobile responsive, you're having the constant strong SEO, the fresh content, social media strategy, website maintenance plan or webmasters maintenance plans, secure hosting of your website, and a plan for measurement and optimization. What you'll be able to do with this information is take it back to your company and actually identify what you need to do to protect your website. We're able to provide the solutions and give you the solutions. It's your choice what you'd like to do next. So by doing this, we follow our 5-step process. Our first step is the strategy. We identify what the actual needs are. Then we go into design. Sometimes we don't do design for our clients just because they need the back-end services. We are more than happy to host a website that we did not build. Part of our company is that we are structured in order that we're able to help anybody that has that needs assistance. If you have a designer that you enjoy working with, if you have a friend, we will gladly work with them. The step 3 comes into the build, where we actually do the back-end work, the geeky stuff, the hands-on keyboard. That's kind of our bread and butter of what we do. Step 4 is marketing, making sure that you have the SEO, the email campaigns, the content marketing, tracking, loyalty programs, technology assessment, and social media. And step 5, arguably the most important, is the support. So we hear oftentimes of horror stories from website developers and website companies that they essentially build a website, send it out, and they wish the business luck. And there's no back-end support. We have our 24/7, 365 help desk where we're able to see if there's any tickets that come in. One ticket that we had come in was a person couldn't get to their website because their internet was out. They hopped on their cell phone and logged in through their cell phone to submit a ticket, and because the client was close enough, we actually drove out to the client's store, and made sure that everything was working. When we identified that the internet was out, I think that was the easiest problem. That was the easiest that we ever had to deal with. One, because it's not us. So what we're also able to do with the support is hosting the domain names, hosting your actual website, and being able to assist with any issues that you have on your site. So the way that you're able to get a hold of us is through don3@evolve-systems.com. My phone number is 651-556-4635. I invite you to connect with me on LinkedIn. I post a lot of different things about cybersecurity, credit card scams that often happen, and other important things in the industry. A lot of the business that we do is building different WordPress, Drupal, Concrete 5, WooCommerce, BigCommerce, and Xcart websites. If you have any information about, or if you have any questions about what you have, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions at this time.
Well, waiting. Don, many of our members are small businesses, and they may be wondering how often are really their small business websites attacked? How vigilant do they really need to be?
Absolutely. So the question was, how often are websites actually attacked? how often are things being monitored, and how frequent are people visiting the site maliciously. We've had clients where we built a website and we built their internal processing systems where once we did a scan, we identified that they were being attacked about 1,000 times per hour. Granted, that client was the Colorado State Supreme Court, and so you can understand why people would want to attack that site organically. First, the smaller business, we found that people will sit down in coffee shops and try to disable their website. We found issues where a person has been mistreated or thought that their service was not as acceptable as others. For instance, a coffee shop, if they got a bad cup of coffee, a website hacker may think it's funny or may think it's great to take down the coffee shop's website just for the fun of it. Unfortunately, they don't need a reason, and it's difficult to do that. So it's one of those things where you always want to be vigilant of what is going on. We had a question of what is the cost for a 5-point audit scan, and that's probably the best question that you could ask. It's free. Our 5-point audit process, or the scan, is free initially. What you'll get then is information about what you're currently doing, how well you're doing, and if Vault Systems can help you. So like I said, if you need any help or assistance, we'll gladly provide solutions. It's up to you what you'd like to do next. Wonderful. We have more questions coming in. Wonderful. So just a little bit of information. We appreciate you guys coming out to our webinar. Like I said, we wanted to keep it under an hour, and it was about 40 minutes or so. So some upcoming events. We have the morning networking event on Wednesday, July 20th from 7:30 to 9:30. It's at the Norway House in Minneapolis. The first Tuesday networking event, August 2nd, from 4:30 to 6:30 at Nice Spice in Minneapolis, and some other events. If you have any questions about events or things going on in Twin Cities MetroIBA, please visit buylocaltwincities.com/events. If you have any questions, please go ahead and email me. I'd be more than happy to assist you with anything that you may need. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. This is the end of the webinar. We'll stay online for a few minutes just in case anybody has any lasting questions that they'd like to ask.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming. MetroIBA and the Education Committee offers these webinars for both members and non-members alike. Everyone's welcome to join. And if you have questions about what membership could do for you, please feel free to visit our website, buylocaltwincities.com, and go to the Join page. And you'll find out more about what MetroIBA is about. We advocate, educate, and promote small businesses in Twin Cities. We have about nearly 400 members, and we range the full gamut from retail to services, business services, like Vault Systems is a proud member for quite a while now. We also have restaurants, retails. Really, we do a lot. We also have citizen members who are very committed to the buy local movement and want to support us. So you can find out more about us again at buylocaltwincities.com. You can find out more about Evolve Systems at evolve-systems.com. We're very excited that Don was able to share with us today. Thank you for your patience through our technical difficulties at the beginning. Again, the webinar is recorded. We'll provide the recording with viewing information and the presentation slides to everyone later in the day. And if there are no more questions, feel free to contact John directly. Again, Don3@evolvesystems.com. That's at evolve-systems.com or 651-556-4635. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Thanks.
Thank you so much.